My name is Summer, and I turned 18 2 months ago, just before graduating high school. For my birthday, my best friend gave me a gift that was, let's just say, unconventional. It was a high-end novelty item, packaged in a sleek, professional box that screamed, "This is no joke." At first, I thought it was a gag gift, something to make me blush and laugh. But knowing my friend, she'd picked it with care, tailored to my unspoken dreams. I was a romantic at heart, still waiting for the right person to share my first big moment with. And she knew I was curious about life's thrills. Her gift? A cheeky nod to that curiosity. I'm a golden blonde, my hair falling just past my shoulders, with a slight wave that's easy to manage. My amber eyes are my favorite feature, set in a round face with high cheekbones that give it a soft, oval look. At 5 feet 3 inches, I'm average height, with a fit frame, wider hips, and a rear I'm proud of. Just don't call it a bubble butt, or I'll lose it. My chest is proportionate, not too big, not too small, perfect for a little cleavage when I'm feeling bold. My one gripe? A slightly rounded belly that refuses to flatten, despite my 110-pound frame. It's not much, but it bugs me. My figure's close to an hourglass, just shy of the dramatic curve. 6 years ago, my parents divorced, and I lived with my mom until recently. Her strict rules clashed with my free spirit, and I'm convinced they kept me from exploring romance sooner. Not that I'm complaining, I hadn't met anyone worth my heart yet. After graduation, I moved in with my dad, who I'd only seen a few times a year growing up. The move wasn't just about my job being closer to his place. I needed a fresh start, away from mom's control. Dad's house felt like freedom. The gift from my friend? It sat untouched for days. I'd eye the box, my cheeks burning, unsure if I was brave enough to try it. But curiosity won out, and once I did, it became my little secret. Every night, and some mornings, I'd indulge, marveling at how it opened a new world of confidence and fun. It was like discovering a hidden part of myself, and I couldn't thank my friend enough. One night, about a week after settling at Dad's, I pulled out the gifts manual. I'd never bothered reading it, assuming I knew all there was to know. Big mistake. The sleek device had features I hadn't noticed. A reservoir, a battery compartment, even a remote. The base was chunkier than I'd expected, and now I knew why. Intrigued, I asked Dad for some AAA batteries. "What for?" he asked, eyebrow raised. Rather not say," I mumbled, my face hot. True to his laid-back nature, he handed them over without prying. With the batteries in, I tested the new feature. A subtle vibration that sent a thrill through me. It was like the gift had leveled up, and I was hooked. Mornings before work, nights before bed, I'd lose myself in the fun, texting my friend a giddy, "You genius," followed by her reply. A flood of winking emojis. Then I discovered the reservoir's purpose. The manual led me to the company's website, where I learned it could hold liquid and mimic a special moment. My heart raced. Was I daring enough to try it? After a moment of hesitation, I ordered a bottle of the recommended fluid, my pulse pounding with anticipation. When it arrived in a nondescript envelope, Dad handed it to me with a curious glance. "What's this?" he asked. I squeaked, "Just something," and bolted to my room, barely containing my excitement. It was a Friday evening in late June when I decided to test it. The house was quiet, Dad probably watching TV downstairs. I sat on my bed, heart thumping, and carefully filled the reservoir with the thick, opaque liquid. The manual promised a realistic experience, and I couldn't help but giggle nervously. What was I even doing? I lay back, the device ready, and took a deep breath. This was it, the big moment. I started slow, easing into the moment, my nerves tingling with suspense. The vibrations kicked in, and a wave of sensation hit me, stronger than before. My breath hitched, and I couldn't help but smile. This was fun. The anticipation built as I wondered what the new feature would feel like. Would it live up to the hype? My fingers hovered over the button that would trigger the liquid. Heart pounding, I pressed it. A soft whir came from the device, followed by a surprising sensation. My eyes flew open, and before I could stop it, a loud yelp escaped my lips. The feeling was intense, unexpected, and incredible. My whole body buzzed with excitement, and I couldn't hold back a laugh that turned into a gasp. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced, and I was lost in the moment. Then, bam! My bedroom door swung open, hitting the wall. I froze, my head snapping up. There stood Dad, eyes wide, mouth open like he'd seen a ghost. My nightshirt covered most of me, but my legs were bare, and the device was, well, unmistakable. For a split second, we stared at each other, both horrified. "Summer, I'm so sorry," he stammered, his face turning crimson. I heard you yell. I thought you were hurt. I was too stunned to speak, caught in the middle of my experiment, my heart racing from both the thrill and the embarrassment. Dad should have bolted, but he hesitated, his eyes flickering to the device before he caught himself. Finally, he yanked the door shut and disappeared, leaving me in stunned silence. I sat there, trembling, the device still in my hand. The thrill of the moment was gone, replaced by a mix of mortification and amusement. I couldn't believe what had just happened. My dad had walked in on me at the worst possible time. How was I supposed to face him now? I turned off the device, set it aside, and flopped back on my pillow, my mind spinning. Sleep came eventually, but not before I replayed the scene 100 times, cringing and giggling in equal measure. The next day was a masterclass in avoidance. Dad and I tiptoed around each other, barely making eye contact. Every time I passed him in the kitchen or hallway, my cheeks burned, and I swear I caught him blushing too. It was like we were both haunted by the same awkward ghost. By Saturday evening, I couldn't take it anymore. We had to clear the air. Dad was in the living room watching some action movie with explosions blaring. I plopped onto the couch, a safe distance away, and chewed my lip, wondering how to start. Lucky for me, he beat me to it. Summer, he said, his voice low. I'm really sorry about last night. I heard you yell and thought something was wrong. I nodded, my face warming. It's okay, Dad. I didn't mean to be so loud. It was just a surprise, you know? I cringed at my own words, hoping he wouldn't press for details. He gave me a sideways glance, his cheeks pink. Yeah, I get it. You don't have to be embarrassed, though. It's normal to explore stuff. I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Normal, huh? I teased, sensing an opening. You saying you've got your own secrets, Dad? His eyes widened, and he shifted uncomfortably, rubbing the back of his neck. Well, I mean, I've, tried things, you know, back in the day. My curiosity spiked. Back in the day? I leaned forward, grinning. Or, like, recently? He groaned, his face now a full-on tomato. You're gonna make me regret this, aren't you? He muttered. But there was a hint of a smile. Fine, they make stuff for guys, okay? Like a sleeve thing. It's not a big deal. My jaw dropped, and I couldn't help but laugh. No way! You've got a guy toy? That's amazing! I was genuinely delighted, not just at the revelation, but at how flustered he was. Do you still use it? He sank lower into the couch, looking like he wanted to vanish. Summer, you're killing me, he said. But his tone was playful. After a pause, he admitted, yeah, I've got it. Used it? I don't know, last weekend maybe? I clapped a hand over my mouth, eyes wide. Dad, you're full of surprises! I couldn't believe we were having this conversation, but it felt oddly freeing, like we were finally seeing each other as real people, not just parent and kid. We sat in silence for a moment, both processing. Then Dad tilted his head, a mischievous glint in his eye. So, what was that package you were so excited about yesterday? You squealed like you won the lottery. My stomach dropped. Oh no, I wasn't ready to go there. It's nothing, Dad, I said quickly, my voice high-pitched. Just a thing. He smirked, clearly enjoying my discomfort. A thing, huh? Now I'm curious. Spill it. I groaned, torn between embarrassment and the urge to match his teasing. Fine, I said, jumping up. I'll show you, but you're not allowed to laugh. I dashed to my room, grabbed the bottle of fluid, and returned, thrusting it into his hands. He squinted at it, turning it over. This looks like... What is this? It's for the gift, I said, my face burning. It, makes it more realistic. You know, like a special effect. His eyebrows shot up, and he let out a low whistle. Wow, they think of everything, don't they? He handed it back, his expression a mix of amusement and disbelief. Your friend really went all out. Yeah, I said, laughing despite myself. She knows me too well. We sat there, the tension easing into something comfortable. I stood to head to bed, but paused, a playful impulse taking over. So, Dad, I said, smirking, you gonna break out your sleeve tonight? His jaw dropped, and he laughed, shaking his head. You're trouble, you know that? He paused, then added softly, maybe. You gonna use your thing? I gasped, feigning shock, but couldn't hide my grin. Maybe, I shot back, winking. Night, Dad. As I walked to my room, my heart was light, but a tiny spark of something else flickered. A mix of thrill and curiosity. Our conversation had been unexpected, teasing, and just a little daring. Closing my door, I glanced at the gift on my nightstand, wondering what other surprises it might hold.